Ever feel like you're trying to decode a secret message when you listen to fast English? Like in movies or maybe, in a real conversation?
Oh, absolutely. It can just sound like gibberish, right? A total blur.
Exactly. Like everyone's talking a mile a minute and you're just left feeling completely lost. It's a really common frustration for language learners.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely in the right place today. We're doing a deep dive into this four-step method that one of our listeners actually shared. It's designed specifically to help cut through that noise.
Right, to improve your ability to actually understand English when it's spoken quickly, naturally.
Yeah. So we're going to unpack each of these four steps. There's initial exposure, then slowing things down.
Active listening and transcription.
Right. And finally, comparison and analysis. We'll show how this structured approach can really help tackle what feels like a huge challenge.
It's like having a toolkit, really, for unlocking those fast conversations. It's a solid framework, moving beyond just passively hearing things.
Getting you actively involved.
Exactly. Engaging your brain to process English at its, natural speed. Building a real skill set, step by step.
Okay, so let's get right into it then. Step one in this method is what they call initial exposure.
Right.
And the concept here is, well, it's pretty straightforward. You listen to a short clip, yeah. A real English conversation.
Mm-hmm. Authentic material.
And it's spoken at its normal, full speed, no messing about.
No slowing it down, no subtitles, none of that.
Nope, no training wheels, as you said. Just pure, natural speed English.
And the example conversation they used involved this guy, David, talking about meeting someone named Chantel. She was from Montreal.
Oh, okay. So a bit of a cultural mix there.
Yeah, exactly. Which kind of highlights right away how communication can happen even with, language differences. He spoke English, she spoke French.
Interesting. Okay, so you listen to this clip at full speed. Now, the goal here is not to understand every single word, right?
Not at all. Let's be really clear on that. It's more about getting a feel for it.
Like the rhythm, the pace.
Yeah, the intonation, that kind of musicality of spoken English, how it ebbs and flows naturally.
So it's like taking your auditory temperature, seeing where you're starting from.
That's a great way to put it. Assessing the starting point before you start applying the strategies. This initial immersion, even if you don't understand everything, it starts getting your ears used to the soundscape.
Recognizing the overall melody before you zoom in on the words.
Exactly. And it's really crucial not to get discouraged at this point if it feels like everyone's just mumbling super fast.
Which it probably will at first.
Right. That feeling of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Totally normal. The understanding builds up later in the other steps.
Okay, good to know. So you've taken that first dip, experienced the full speed. Step two then is where you deliberately change pace. You slow down.
Okay, yeah. Now we're moving towards actually understanding the content better. So in this phase, you listen to that exact same conversation again.
The same clip.
The very same one. And this is a really key difference. It's not just the original audio played slower.
Okay, so you're not just hitting the 0.75x button.
No. It's actually a re-recorded version. The speakers have consciously spoken more slowly, more clearly, articulating things better.
That's a really important distinction. So your brain gets more processing time, but without that, weird distortion you sometimes get when you just slow down playback.
Exactly. That extra time helps you pick out the individual sounds and words that might have just blurred together at full speed.
Right. Gives your brain that extra fraction of a second to decode things.
It's kind of like when you finally figure out the lyrics to a song you've loved for years but always misheard.
Oh, yeah. That aha moment.
Exactly. Suddenly just clicks into place.
And I bet there's a real confidence boost here, too.
Oh, definitely. Listeners often find they actually understood way more at this slower speed than they thought they would after that first listen.
Yeah, it shows you what you can do. Builds confidence for the next steps.
Absolutely. It lays that solid auditory foundation. So, okay, we've had the initial blast of natural speed, then the slower, clearer version. What's next?
All right, now we get to step three. This is where we really get our hands dirty, so to speak. Active listening and transcription.
The pens and paper stage.
Yeah.
Or, keyboards.
That's the one. So for this step, you go back to the original clip, the fast one.
Okay.
But this time, your job is to try and write down every single word you hear. Or, as many as you can catch.
Now, we should probably acknowledge up front, this can feel pretty tough.
Oh, for sure. It demands serious focus, a really sharp ear.
But that challenge, that difficulty, is actually what makes it so effective.
Totally. Trying to transcribe forces you to pay super close attention to every little sound, every nuance. It's a really active way to listen, hones those auditory skills.
Yeah, to train your ear to pick up on those subtle sound differences you might otherwise miss. And interestingly, doing this, it actually helps your speaking too.
How?
Well, as you're trying to capture each word, you're automatically thinking about how it's pronounced, the rhythm, the word order.
Ah, I see. So it's like active practice, even though you're not actually saying the words yourself.
Exactly. Plus, when you compare your transcription later to the real one, which is step 4, you get this amazing personalized feedback.
Right. You see exactly where you went wrong.
Yeah, where you misheard something or maybe missed some vocabulary.
Right.
It gives you really targeted insights for improving both your listening and your pronunciation, like direct auditory feedback.
That makes a lot of sense. Concrete data on where you need to focus. All right, so we've done the natural speed, the slowed down version, then the intense transcription. What's the grand finale?
Step 4, comparison and analysis. This is where you take what you wrote down in your transcription, or even just what you think you understood from the earlier steps, and you compare it directly against the actual official written transcript of the conversation.
Okay, the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Where you finally get to see the answers.
Exactly. And this comparison stage, this is often where those big aha moments happen.
Right. You see precisely what you got right and exactly where things went off track.
Yeah, you can pinpoint the exact words or phrases you missed or maybe misheard. And more importantly, you can start thinking about why you missed them.
Like, was it vocabulary I didn't know, or was it a sound I'm not used to hearing?
Precisely. Understanding those reasons helps you focus your future learning much more effectively.
Makes sense.
And, listeners are often really surprised at this stage by how much they actually did understand, even if it didn't feel like it earlier.
That's encouraging. It shows you're making progress, even if it feels slow.
Right. It reinforces that you are getting better.
Yeah.
So this whole 4-step thing, it's fundamentally about actively training your ear and your brain.
Yeah, training them to handle English spoken at its natural speed.
It's moving beyond just hearing the language to actually engaging with it actively. And this structured approach, it's helpful for learners at pretty much any level.
Even advanced learners could probably benefit from this kind of focused practice, right? Sharpening those skills.
Absolutely. Now, something else the material we looked at really emphasizes is the role of vocabulary.
Ah, yeah. Crucial point. You can have great listening skills, but if you don't know the words.
Exactly. Comprehension hits a wall.
So to kind of illustrate this, the source material picks out 3 specific phrases from that David and Chantel conversation.
Right. The first one is to not matter. It's pretty common, but in fast speech, it can get sort of squished together phonetically.
Yeah, you might hear it almost like one word, like to not matter. The T in not kind of blends into the M.
And in that conversation, David said it didn't matter that he didn't speak French and she didn't speak English.
Okay, so in that context, to not matter means what? It wasn't important, didn't stop them.
Exactly. It wasn't important. It wasn't an obstacle to them communicating.
Got it. The material also gave another example, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes, just keep practicing.
Yeah, same idea. Something is inconsequential. Okay, what was the next phase?
The second one was a phrasal verb, to come down.
Ah, phrasal verbs. Always good to focus on those.
Yeah. So in the chat, it mentioned Chantel and her friend had come down from Montreal to Florida.
Right, so come down here. Come and down together create a specific meaning.
And in this geographical sense, to come down means traveling south, right?
Spot on,
Hey.
because Montreal is way up north compared to Florida.
Makes sense. And the other example they gave was, my cousins are coming down from New York for the holidays, implying the speaker is south of New York.
Exactly. It emphasizes that direction.
Okay.
And the final vocabulary highlight.
That was another phrasal verb. To end up.
Ah, yes. Very useful one.
And to end up generally means you arrive at some situation or result, often one you didn't really plan for, maybe unexpected.
Yeah, there's often a sense of surprise or lack of planning involved. Like in the conversation, David said Chantel ended up living with him for 7 months.
Which probably wasn't the plan when they first met on the beach.
Unlikely. And the other example they used was, we got lost, but we ended up finding a cute little cafe. Again, that unexpected twist.
Right, so these vocabulary examples really show that understanding spoken English isn't just about single words. It's about grasping these common phrases, these phrasal verbs, and how they work in context.
Absolutely crucial. So just to quickly recap the main points here.
Yeah.
We've got this four-step method for understanding fast English.
Initial exposure, slowing down, active listening and transcription, and comparison analysis.
Right. And we've also stressed how vital vocabulary is. You can't listen effectively if you don't know the words.
Makes sense. Now, the source material also mentions something called the 150-day listening challenge. Sounds intense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a structured program. The idea is you commit 15 minutes every single day for 150 days straight.
Wow.
Just listening to short, real English conversations, like a daily dose of practice.
15 minutes isn't too bad, but 150 days, that's commitment.
It is. And the material pointed out that it features over 50 different native speakers. So you get exposed to loads of different accents, different ways of talking.
Which is super important for understanding people in the real world, right? English isn't just one accent.
Exactly. You need to train your ear for that variety.
So what's the payoff? What do they claim happens after 150 days?
Well, the claim is a pretty big improvement, being able to understand English, movies, TV, real conversations much more easily.
That would be huge for a lot of learners. Now, there was a special offer mentioned, too.
Yeah, there was a limited time deal, discounted price, lifetime access to the whole program, but it had an end date Friday, March 21st.
Ah, okay, so that specific offer might be gone by the time people hear this. But hopefully, if it sounded good, some listeners caught it.
Hopefully. But even if you missed that specific deal, the core idea, that consistent daily listening practice, that's still incredibly valuable advice for anyone.
Oh, absolutely. Consistency is everything in language learning.
Totally. Now, speaking of valuable things, we also put together a free resource to help people get started with that four-step method we talked about.
Oh, right. The PDF worksheet. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's totally free to download, and it's packed with useful stuff. It's got, like, detailed tips on how to do each of the 4 steps.
Okay.
A practice worksheet you can actually use, and the full transcript of that David and Chantel conversation we keep mentioning. Basically, everything you need to start trying this method out.
Nice. That sounds really helpful. How do people get it?
Super simple. Just click the link. It'll be in the show notes for this deep dive. You pop in your name and email.
Easy P.
Exactly. We send the worksheet right over.
Great.
And there's a bonus, too. If you sign up for the worksheet, you also get weekly free PDF worksheets with more tips, more exercises, just ongoing support.
Oh, fantastic. So it's like a continuous resource. Definitely worth checking out then.
We think so.
Okay, so as we kind of start to wrap up this section, let's circle back to the main theme. Understanding fast English. It's tough, yeah, but it's doable.
Absolutely. It's achievable. With the right methods, like the one we discussed, and consistent effort. That 4-step approach is a really great starting point.
So here's a thought for you, our listener. Think back. Try to pinpoint a time when you really struggled with fast English. Maybe it was a movie scene, a podcast, or just chatting with a native speaker. We've all been there, feeling left behind.
Now imagine applying the techniques we talked about today. That initial exposure, the slowing down for clarity, the intense focus of transcription, the analysis. How might that have changed things?
Would you have understood more, felt a bit more confident maybe, less loss?
And maybe think broader, too. This step-by-step analytical way of tackling a challenge. Could it apply to other things? Other communication hurdles? Or even different areas of life entirely?
Because that's really what we try to do here on the Deep Dive, isn't it?
Yeah. Taking these deep dives, breaking things down, helping people make sense of it all, providing strategies you can actually use.
Exactly. Strategies to help navigate those fast English conversations. And the source material we've been digging into today, it comes from a resource that's, totally focused on this exact topic. Mastering Fast English, it's their whole thing. Really good stuff.
Yeah, very focused.
So that first step we mentioned earlier, initial exposure. The key idea, again, is listening to a real conversation clip at natural speed. But, and this is important, with no visual help at all.
Right. No subtitles, no transcript scrolling by, just your ears and the sound.
And the big goal isn't decoding every word, right? It's tuning in.
Tuning into the rhythm, the speed, the intonation, that musical quality we talked about, how native speakers actually sound in real time.
Yeah, that rise and fall of the voice, the intonation, it carries so much meaning beyond just the words themselves. Emotion, questions, emphasis.
Definitely. So to give you a better sense of this, we're actually going to play a very short audio clip. It's from a conversation where 2 people are talking about a kind of surprising encounter they had.
Okay, so maybe for you listening, just try closing your eyes. Focus only on the sounds. Relax and just take it in. Here it is.
Short audio clip plays E-R-A-G. So I was just walking along the beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly this girl comes up to me, starts speaking French. I had no idea what she was saying, but somehow, we just clicked.
Okay, just a short snippet there. An example of that initial exposure. What did you notice? Did you catch any specific words? What was your sense of the speed? Probably felt pretty quick, right?
Yeah, it's totally normal if it felt like it just zipped by. This first listen is all about calibrating your ear to that natural pace. We'll break it down more in the next steps.
Right. Okay, so step 2 is where we deliberately slow things down to help with comprehension.
Exactly. So now, you listen to that same conversation again, the exact same content, but this time it's a special version, slowed down, re-recorded.
And we need to stress again, this isn't just the original audio played slower with software.
Nope. It's a brand new recording. The speakers intentionally spoke slower, much more clearly, really enunciating.
So you can actually pick out the words more easily?
Precisely. It's the same information, just delivered at a pace that's easier for your brain to process, especially if you're still learning.
I bet listeners will find they understand a lot more this time.
Most certainly. Okay, so let's listen to that slowed down version now. Try to notice how much more you can pick up when the speed isn't so frantic.
Slowed down audio clip plays same content as before, but spoken clearly and slowly.
Okay, let's pause there again. How was that?
Mm.
A bit easier to follow. Could you grasp more of what was being said?
I'm sure the clarity made a huge difference for everyone.
It really highlights how much speed impacts understanding. But of course, the main goal is to understand the original speed, so we don't stop here.
Exactly. Which brings us to step 3. Now we shift into a more active mode. Active listening.
Engaging your brain fully.
That's it. So you listen to the original fast clip one more time, but this time you try to write down as much as you possibly can. Transcribe it.
This is such a great exercise. It forces you to concentrate intensely, and it helps you see what words you do know, while also showing you exactly where the tricky spots are.
Totally. Okay, so grab a pen, open a notes app. We'll play that fast clip again. Don't worry about getting every single word. Just do your best. Normally you could pause and rewind, but for now let's try to keep up. Here it is again.
Fast audio clip plays again, same as the first time.
Okay, wow, still fast. How did you do that time? Did you manage to write down more than the first time you heard it? Hopefully.
But look, even if you didn't catch everything, that's totally okay. Because now we move to the final step where it all comes together.
Right. Step 4, verification and analysis. So now we're going to show you the actual transcript of that little conversation. And while you read it, we'll play the fast audio clip one last time. You can follow along, check your own transcription, see all the words.
This is where you really pinpoint what you got right, what you might have misheard, and maybe spot some new vocabulary or phrases you didn't recognize before.
Okay, so here's the transcript on screen for those watching, or just listen closely. We'll play the audio again. Compare what you thought you heard with the actual words. This is where the real learning happens.
Fast audio clip plays again, perhaps with transcript visible if applicable to the format.
Okay, and that wraps up the 4 steps for this specific clip. You've now really engaged with this short conversation from multiple angles.
Yeah, you should have a much clearer understanding now. Just to quickly check that, where was Chantel from again?
She was from Montreal. Okay, question 2. Where did David and Chantel first meet?
They met on the beach. All right, question 3. Did they speak the same language?
No, they didn't. He spoke English, she spoke French. Which is pretty amazing. They still connected, really.
It really is. Shows communication is more than just words. Okay, final question. How long did Chantel end up living with David?
It was 7 months. Quite the unexpected outcome from a chance meeting on the beach with a language barrier. Life's funny.
It certainly is. Okay, so now that we've got the story, let's quickly revisit those specific phrases from their chat that are good for learners.
Good idea. First one was to not matter. In the clip, we heard didn't matter. What's the basic meaning again?
It just means something wasn't important or it was inconsequential. Like, it doesn't matter if you're late, we haven't started yet. No significance.
Got it. Okay, next phrase. The phrasal verb to come down. Chantal had come down from Montreal. What does that tell us?
In that geographical context, it means traveling from north to south. So you'd say they came down from Canada to Mexico, for example. Direction of travel.
Understood. Southward travel. And the last phrase.
The other phrasal verb, to end up. David said Chantal ended up living with him. What does that suggest?
It suggests arriving at a situation or result that wasn't really planned or expected. Like there's an element of surprise. Living together for 7 months wasn't the obvious outcome of that first meeting.
Exactly. Often implies an unplanned conclusion. So by going through these 4 steps, You've not only practiced listening actively, but also picked up some useful vocabulary and common phrases.
Hmm.
And hopefully, you're seeing that understanding fast English really is a skill you can build with this kind of focused work.
Absolutely. And, if you're really serious about boosting your progress here, we should mention that 150-day listening challenge again. It's a full program designed specifically to level up your English listening. For 150 days, you get daily practice with real conversations, lots of different speakers, different accents.
Yeah, it's a really immersive way to get your ears tuned to real-world English. Now, normally that challenge costs $500, which reflects how comprehensive it is. But there was that special offer for our listeners,
Right. The limited time deal, lifetime access for just $199.
which is a huge saving. But again, that offer was set to expire on March 21st. So it may or may not still be available depending on when you're listening. The link is in the description if you want to check it out, but definitely act fast if you're interested.
Good advice.
But hey, for everyone listening today, regardless of the challenge, we still have that free resource.
Yes. The free PDF worksheet. Don't forget about that.
It covers everything from the 4-step method, the tips, a practice sheet, the transcript of the David and Chantel story.
So you can review it all and start practicing right away. To grab it, just click the link in the description, enter your name and email, and boom, it's yours.
And signing up also gets you those free weekly PDF worksheets sent to your inbox. More tips, more exercises, just ongoing support for your English learning.
Fantastic. So whether you jump into the big challenge or just start applying the 4 steps using the free worksheet, the most important thing is
Consistency. Just keep practicing. Every time you listen, every time you actively try to understand, you're making progress. And think about it.
Yeah.
How often does miscommunication happen just because someone's speaking quickly or you're not used to their way of talking? Treating your ears for fast English is a massive communication skill.
Absolutely. Keep at it, keep exploring English content, and you'll definitely surprise yourself with how much you improve. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Have you ever had this happen? You're listening, right? Following along okay with someone speaking English. Maybe it's not even super fast, but then the second you need to actually say something back, respond quickly, your brain just freezes.
Oh, totally. All the time. It's like you're still busy processing what they just said, trying to figure out your reply, and boom, the conversation's already moved 3 steps ahead.
Exactly. That little delay feels like forever. You feel left behind.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to tackle in this part of our deep dive. We're pulling more great stuff from that podcast I mentioned, Mastering Fast English Conversations.
Well, good resource. Sounds very relevant.
Yeah, and we're going to break down a really practical 3-step strategy.
Yeah.
But this time, it's specifically for speaking more fluently and quickly.
Excellent.
Okay.
Because understanding is one thing, but being able to respond promptly, confidently,
Yeah.
that's the other half of the equation, isn't it?
It really is. And this strategy, it's not about memorizing huge lists of words or super complex grammar. It's more about simple, effective practice techniques, things you can actually fit into your daily routine pretty easily.
And the cool thing about these techniques is you can often see results fairly quickly, right? Without feeling totally overwhelmed.
That's the idea. We know people are busy looking for stuff that works without taking up hours every day.
Definitely. And hey, just to mention, we've also got another PDF worksheet specifically for these speaking strategies. It explains the steps, gives you extra exercises. You'll find a link for that one too.
Awesome. Okay, let's dive into this 3-step speaking strategy. Step number 1 is a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, yeah, I know that might sound a bit weird at first.
Like you're following someone around.
Kind of, but it's an incredibly powerful technique for improving your spoken English.
So what does it actually involve? What is shadowing?
Okay, basically it's active listening, where you repeat what you hear almost immediately as the speaker says it. Like your voice is their echo or their shadow following right behind the audio.
I like that. Echo or shadow. Clear image. So what's the benefit of doing this echoing thing?
It works on several levels. First off, it's fantastic for improving your pronunciation, getting your mouth comfortable making the sounds of English.
Makes sense. You're directly copying native speakers.
But it's more than just the sounds. Shadowing helps you absorb the natural rhythm, the intonation, the flow of English, all crucial for sounding more natural and fluent.
So you're copying the music of the language too, not just the words.
Exactly. And here's a really interesting part. Because you're so focused on just copying, your brain doesn't have to worry about what to say. It frees up mental energy to subconsciously focus on how it's said, the pronunciation details, the rhythm. It's like your mouth and ears are learning together, bypassing the content creation part.
Huh. That's fascinating. Focusing purely on the delivery mechanics. Okay, let's try a quick shadowing exercise right now. I'll say a sentence, and you listening, try to repeat it right after me as closely as you can. Ready? The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Okay, now after hearing that, say it out loud yourself. Try to match my pronunciation and rhythm. Go ahead.
Pause for listener response. Excellent. Even just doing that once, you can start to feel that connection between hearing and speaking. The more you practice shadowing with different kinds of English audio, the better you'll get at producing those sounds naturally and fluently, almost without thinking.
Exactly. Okay, so that's shadowing. Let's move to step 2 in the speaking strategy, chunking.
Chunking. Okay, what's the main idea behind this one?
Chunking is all about breaking down longer sentences into smaller, more manageable pieces or chunks that sound more natural when you say them. So instead of feeling stressed by a really long sentence, you learn to identify and practice these smaller groups of words.
Taking it in bite-sized pieces?
Pretty much. The idea is that native speakers don't usually think or speak word by single word. We tend to think and talk in these natural groups of words that often go together.
Like little pre-made language blocks.
That's a great analogy. Like Lego blocks. These chunks, sometimes called lexical chunks or collocations, are just words that frequently hang out together. Learning to spot them and use them is key to sounding more fluent and natural. You start speaking more like a native speaker, less like you're translating word for word in your head.
That makes total sense. Learning the common patterns. Okay, let's try a chunking exercise. Here's a sentence. Even though the weather was terrible yesterday, we still decided to go for a picnic.
Right. Bit of a longer one. Let's break it down. First chunk, repeat after me. Even though the weather was terrible yesterday.
Pause for listener response.
Ugh.
Now the second chunk. We still decided to go for a picnic.
Pause for listener response. Perfect. See how breaking it into 2 feels less intimidating.
Definitely more manageable. Let's do one more. How about, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me at the end.
Okay, chunking that. First part. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
Pause for listener response. And the second chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Me at the end.
Pause for listener response. Excellent.
I can really see how practicing these smaller natural groups would make your speaking feel much smoother over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you consistently practice speaking in these natural chunks, your overall speech just becomes more fluent. It gets a better rhythm. You're training your mouth and brain to work together using these familiar patterns.
Okay, makes sense. Now, the third and final step in this speaking strategy, response drills.
Response drills.
Mm.
Okay, this technique is specifically designed to help you practice giving quick, almost automatic answers to common questions you hear in conversations. The goal is to cut down on those hesitations, those awkward pauses.
So it's about building speed and automaticity in your replies.
Exactly. Like a musician practicing scales over and over until they don't even have to think about it. You're building that same kind of automatic muscle memory for speaking.
And it's important to remember, the goal here isn't perfect grammar every single time, is it? It's more about the fluency, the natural flow.
Absolutely. Making small mistakes is okay in these drills. The main thing is getting the response out quickly and naturally. Fluency first, perfect grammar maybe second, especially in these practice drills.
Good reminder. Okay, let's try a couple of response drills with common questions. First one, imagine someone asks you, what's your favorite kind of food? Just think of your answer quickly and say it out loud. Aim for speed and naturalness.
Pause for listener response. Good. Okay, here's another one. What did you do this past weekend? Again, quick, natural answer out loud.
Pause for listener response. Excellent. And the idea is, as you practice answering these kinds of everyday questions quickly, you'll start to hesitate less in real conversations. Speaking will feel smoother, more comfortable, because your brain is getting trained to respond more automatically.
Precisely. Okay, quick recap then of the 3 speaking steps. First, shadowing, echoing the speaker to improve pronunciation and fluency. Second, chunking, breaking sentences into natural phrases for smoother, more native-like sound. And third, response drills, practicing quick answers to common questions to reduce hesitation and build confidence.
Exactly. And like we keep saying, consistent practice is the key. Even just a few minutes each day on these exercises can really add up and make a noticeable difference in your spoken English. And don't forget that free PDF worksheet for extra practice on all 3 steps.
Indeed. Now, for people who are really serious about taking their speaking skills to the next level, the material also mentioned another program, the 150-Day Speaking Challenge.
Ah, I saw that. Sounded pretty intensive.
It was
Yeah.
really comprehensive. Daily training, real conversation practice, specific activities, and even personalized feedback from experienced native English teachers.
Wow, that feedback part sounds incredibly useful. What was the cost on that one?
Well, the usual price was $500, but again, there was that limited time offer, $199 for lifetime access.
Another great deal. But again, that specific offer probably ended back on March 21st.
Most likely, yes,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. But the main techniques we've just talked about, shadowing, chunking, response drills, those are things anyone can start doing right now, today, for free, regardless of that specific challenge program. And the free worksheet we mentioned gives you plenty to get started with.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for this part of the deep dive, focusing on speaking faster and more confidently. We really hope you'll give these 3 steps a try. Even just a few minutes a day consistently can make a huge difference to your fluency and how comfortable you feel speaking English. Remember, learning a language is a journey. Keep practicing, keep experimenting, and you will see amazing results.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's so much great advice out there on this. We've looked at a ton of material.
We really have. So what we want to do now is kind of synthesize all that, boil it down. What are the absolute keys to unlocking that natural native-like sound when you speak English? And based on everything we've reviewed, it really seems to come down to 3 main areas to focus on.
Okay, 3 key areas. I'm ready. What are they?
All right, number 1, and this is huge. Intonation. You really have to pay attention to the music, the melody of your speech.
Intonation. Okay. I think most learners know they shouldn't sound like a robot, right? Not monotone. But maybe we can dig a bit deeper into what that really means.
Definitely. Intonation is all about the rise and fall of your voice as you speak. The pitch changes within a sentence. And in English, this is incredibly important. It's way more than just pronouncing the words right.
Yeah, how you say something in English can totally change the meaning. Take a simple sentence like, I didn't know you were coming, if you say it totally flat. I didn't know you were coming.
Yeah, it sounds a bit robotic. Or maybe uninterested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, try it with a little lift, a little emphasis on no and coming. Like, I didn't know you were coming. Suddenly it sounds surprised, like, oh, wow, this is unexpected. Much more natural, much more expressive.
I can totally hear that difference. It adds the emotion, the context, and it's not just statements, right? Questions, too. Like, are you serious?
Spot on. If you say, are you serious? Flat. It barely sounds like a question. But add that little upward flick at the end, are you serious? And it's clearly a question you're genuinely asking.
Got it. So these little ups and downs in pitch carry a lot of meaning.
A huge amount. Paying attention to them makes a massive difference. And the first step is just awareness. Really listen to how native speakers talk. Notice how their voices move. Then start consciously trying to copy that in your own speech.
Okay, intonation is key number 1. What's the second crucial element for sounding more natural?
The second key is linking. How we connect sounds together when we speak.
Linking, right. This is often what makes fast speech sound so smooth, like the words just flow into each other.
That's exactly it. In natural spoken English, we rarely say each word perfectly separately. The sounds tend to blend together.
Ah, so that's a big reason why native speakers can sound so fast sometimes. It's not just the speed of the words, but how they connect.
Precisely. It's about creating that smooth, connected stream of sound. Take a common question like, what are you doing? If you said each word clearly, what are you doing? It would sound really unnatural in a normal conversation.
Yeah, very stiff.
Instead, we usually say something more like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Or what you doing? See how the T, one blends with the R or you, often becomes ya. It flows together.
I can definitely hear that blend, makes it much smoother. Another example is maybe, I don't know, saying each word separately sounds a bit formal.
Right. But we often hear it as, I don't know, the don't and no just merge.
So becoming aware of this linking is really important for understanding and for sounding more natural yourself.
Absolutely. Listen for it and then try doing it. Experiment. It might feel a bit weird at first trying to blend sounds, but practice makes it feel more natural over time.
Practice, practice, practice. Okay, ready for key number 3 to sounding more native.
Let's hear it. What's the third key?
This one is about using natural expressions.
Natural expressions. Okay, what exactly do we mean by a natural expression here? Well, it means using the kinds of phrases and idioms that native speakers use all the time in everyday chat. These expressions might not always make literal sense if you just look at the words individually.
Ah, like idioms, which you mentioned.
Exactly. Idioms are a perfect example. Using them correctly adds a lot of color and authenticity to your English. Makes you sound much more fluent and, well, natural.
Can you give us a couple of examples of these common natural expressions?
Sure. One that's super common and useful is "it's up to you," which just means you decide. Simple, direct. Another good one is "no worries." You hear this all the time instead of "it's okay" or "don't worry about it." It sounds really casual and friendly.
Right. So it's about moving beyond just correct grammar and vocabulary and actually using these real-world phrases.
That's the core of it, capturing how English is actually spoken. So how can learners get better at using these?
Well, the best way is immersion. Listen as much as you can. Watch movies, TV shows, listen to podcasts, whatever you enjoy. Pay attention to the phrases people use.
Definitely. Maybe keep a little notebook or use an app. Jot down phrases that sound interesting or useful. And that this is the crucial part. Try using them. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn.
So to recap those three keys: intonation, the music; linking, connecting sounds smoothly; and natural expressions, using everyday phrases and idioms.
Exactly. And these three things work together to create that natural, native-like flow when you speak. So what's the big takeaway here for listeners?
Start paying attention. Notice these things in your own speech. Maybe record yourself. Are you using intonation? Are you linking sounds? Are you trying out natural expressions? And just practice consciously.
Couldn't agree more. The more you practice these things, the more automatic they'll become. And you really will start sounding more like a native speaker. And, there's something really satisfying about it. It's not just about sounding good. It's about understanding and connecting with the rhythm and music of the language itself.
Absolutely. Connecting on a deeper level. It's like learning to, dance with the language.
Exactly. And when you can dance with it, you can express yourself more authentically, more engagingly, and you might even find you enjoy it more than you expected. Now, building on those keys, there are a few more specific things, almost like a cheat sheet you can use to sound even more natural.
Ooh, a cheat sheet for sounding native. I like that. What's on it?
Yeah, these are 3 more specific techniques that can really polish your spoken English, make it sound more fluid, more confident. They are contractions, stress patterns, and fillers.
Contractions, stress patterns, fillers. Okay, these sound like maybe smaller details, but I bet they make a big difference collectively.
They really do. And hey, quick reminder, we've got that free PDF worksheet covering these too, with examples and extra practice. Links in the description, just pop in your email. Okay, let's start with contractions.
Contractions, right? Most learners know the basics, like don't for do not, isn't for is not.
Exactly. But using them consistently and using a wider range of them really helps your fluency. Let's talk about why native speakers use them so much. They're basically shortened forms of words or pairs of words. We use them constantly because they make speech flow better, sound more natural, like it's instead of it is, we instead of we have. We often do it without even thinking. It's just how we talk.
Right, it's about efficiency and that natural rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do a quick practice. If you were going to say, I am going to the store, grammatically fine, but sounds a bit stiff.
Yeah, a bit formal for everyday chat. So what's the more natural way?
You usually say, I'm going to the store, see how much smoother I'm is.
Much smoother. Okay, another one. He will be there soon. How would we contract that naturally?
You'd say, he'll be there soon. Okay, listen and try saying it. He'll be there soon.
Perfect. Got it. Okay, moving on to technique number 2 on the cheat sheet. Stress patterns.
Ah, stress patterns. This is about which words you emphasize in a sentence and how that changes the meaning, right?
Exactly. It's about emphasizing certain words to highlight what's important and make sure your intended meaning comes across clearly. It's not just pronouncing words correctly, but stressing the right words.
Let's use that classic example. I didn't say she took my pen. Listen to how the meaning shifts when we stress different words.
Okay, first stressed I. I didn't say she took my pen. What does that imply?
It implies someone else said it, but not me. The focus is on who didn't say it.
Okay.
Now stress didn't.
I didn't say she took my pen. Now it's a strong denial. You're emphasizing that you absolutely did not say that.
Total denial.
Right.
And what if we stress took?
I didn't say she took my pen. Now you're implying, well, maybe she borrowed it or found it, but the specific word you didn't use was took.
Wow. The same words, but the emphasis completely changes the nuance. It's powerful.
It really is. And it's a vital part of sounding natural, something learners might overlook.
Yeah, getting it wrong can make you sound a bit off or even lead to misunderstandings. I remember a student who always stressed the wrong syllable in comfortable instead of comfortable, small thing, but it sounded awkward.
Perfect example. Subtle, but important. Okay, let's practice. I'll say the sentence. I didn't say she took my pen with natural stress. You repeat it. Try to copy the
It's
emphasis.
okay. I didn't say she took my pen.
Good. I didn't say she took my pen. Now try saying it again, but this time stress a different word each time you
I'd
say
say
it.
she took my pen. I didn't say she took my pen. I didn't say she took my pen.
Excellent. You're getting the hang of it. Look
Yeah.
how much meaning is in the stress. Okay, let's hit the third and final technique on our cheat sheet.
Fillers.
Ah, fillers, the little ums and uhs and you knows that we sprinkle into conversation. Exactly. They might seem like, little throwaway words, but they actually play a huge role in making conversation sound natural. They're pretty essential, actually.
Really? Why are they so important?
Well, fillers are those little words and sounds we use to bridge our thoughts, basically, to give ourselves a tiny bit of thinking time while we're talking. Things like, well, so, right. They help smooth out the conversation, make it less abrupt, less robotic. We use them constantly, often without even realizing it.
So they're like conversational WD-40, keep things moving smoothly, and buy you a split second to think.
That's a good way to put it. Imagine someone asks you a tricky question. Instead of just dead silence while you think, you might say, or, well. It just signals you're processing, and it keeps the connection going.
Makes the interaction feel more human, less like an interrogation.
Exactly. So let's take a simple sentence. I need more time to think about it. How could we make that sound more natural using fillers?
You might say, I need like a little more time to think about it. Or maybe, well, I probably need some more time to think about it.
Perfect examples. Those little fillers just soften it, make it sound much more like natural speech. Okay, listen and repeat after me. I need like a little more time to think about it.
I need like a little more time to think about it.
Nice. You can hear how much more natural that sounds. Okay, so quick recap of our cheat sheet techniques. Contractions, using shortened forms, stress patterns, emphasizing the right words for meaning, and fillers, using those little sounds and words to connect thoughts and pause naturally. Even these seemingly small things add up to make a big difference in how natural you sound.
Absolutely. It's all those little nuances that create that authentic, fluent feel. Now, speaking of flow, another really key aspect of natural spoken English is how we blend words together, right?
Ah, yes, connected speech, super important. It's a major difference between how English looks written down and how it actually sounds when spoken naturally.
Yeah, like the question, what do you want to do? When people say it fast, it often sounds more like what I want to do.
Exactly. The separate words just kind of melt together. It's much more efficient for speaking.
It is, and it's something learners often struggle with, both understanding it and doing it. Another classic example is, did you eat? Which often becomes just jeet.
Right. Try saying both of those out loud now. Did you eat
Yeah,
versus did you eat? You can feel the difference in the flow, the effort.
definitely. The second one is much more connected, and closely related to connected speech are reductions, yeah.
Yes, reductions are another way we make spoken language more efficient, shortening common phrases. We touched on this earlier with things like going to becoming gonna and want to becoming wanna.
These are everywhere in everyday speech. Let's give listeners another quick practice. Instead of saying the full, I am going to call you later, try the reduced form. I'm going to call you later.
Hear that smoother flow? Now you try it. And similarly, instead of do you want to go, try the reduction. Do you want to go?
Do you want to go versus do you want to go? Yeah, it really changes the rhythm. And finally, we should just quickly revisit intonation again, because it's so crucial for signaling meaning,
Right.
especially with questions versus statements.
Absolutely. Remember, intonation is the melody. For yes-no questions, the voice usually goes up at the end. Listen, are you ready? Hear that lift. Now you try.
Are you ready?
Perfect. And for statements, the voice usually goes down at the end. Listen, I'm ready. Hear the drop. Now you try.
I'm ready.
See? Same words, totally different meaning conveyed just by the intonation. The power of the melody.
It's huge. Okay, quick recap of these extra elements then. Connected speech, blending words, reductions, shortening phrases like gonna and wanna, and intonation, the melody that signals questions or statements. Getting these down will make your spoken English sound way more conversational and natural.
Okay, so let's bring our focus back now to that initial problem we discussed.
Yeah.
Actually understanding those fast English conversations. It's where a lot of learners feel really overwhelmed, like they're missing out.
Yeah, that feeling of just trying to keep your head above water, deciphering this rapid stream of sound. It's tough.
It really is. And it's not just about hearing the words. It's about grasping the meaning quickly, understanding the nuances, the whole message, not just bits and pieces.
And that's exactly what we want to give you strategies for now. How to navigate that fast English and actually improve your comprehension. We've pulled out 3 key areas from the material that can make a real difference.
Yeah, these are really practical things you can start working on. The first is about prediction, using your brain to anticipate what's likely coming next. The second is about boosting your reaction speed, processing what you hear faster. And the third is actively training your ears to get better at catching the details in fast speech, developing those listening muscles.
Okay, let's break down that first one, prediction. Now, when we say prediction and listening, we don't just mean randomly guessing, right?
No, not at all. It's actually a pretty sophisticated skill that good listeners use all the time, often without even realizing it. It's about recognizing patterns in the language, knowing common phrases, understanding how conversations usually flow logically.
Can you give an example of how that works?
Sure. If someone says, "It's raining cats and dogs outside, don't forget your..." What does your brain instantly fill in?
Umbrella. Or maybe raincoat.
Exactly. That's not a wild guess. It's based on the context, heavy rain, and your knowledge of the world and common phrases.
Right. Using what you already know to anticipate what's next.
The source material had another good example. If you're feeling tired, you should probably get some. Most people would immediately think rest or sleep. Again, it's a logical connection based on the context. So how does this predicting help with understanding fast English?
Well, instead of just passively waiting for each word to hit you, you're already thinking ahead. You're building a mental framework, anticipating what the speaker might say next.
Precisely. Being proactive like that makes it much easier to process the information when it comes quickly. Your brain is kind of primed and ready for certain words or ideas.
Makes sense. Okay, let's try a quick prediction exercise for everyone listening. Here's the start of a sentence. I'm running really late for my meeting, so I need to take a pray. What word or phrase likely comes next?
You probably thought of taxi or cab or maybe shortcut. Again, the context being late for a meeting guides your prediction.
But hang on, isn't there a danger here? What if you predict wrong? Could that mess up your understanding?
That's a really important point. You don't want to get so stuck on your prediction that you ignore what the speaker actually says. That would definitely lead to misunderstandings. So it's a balance. You want to be proactive, anticipate, but also stay flexible and listen carefully to confirm or adjust your prediction. It's an ongoing cycle. Anticipate, listen, adapt.
So it's not rigid guessing, it's more like flexible anticipation.
Exactly. Think of prediction as your first line of defense against getting overwhelmed by fast speech. Okay, let's move to strategy number 2, boosting your reaction speed. And for this, we're actually going to bring back a technique we talked about for speaking.
Ah, shadowing again. How does doing a speaking exercise help with listening speed?
Well, remember, shadowing is listening and repeating almost simultaneously, trying to match the speaker's speed, pronunciation, intonation. While you're producing speech, you're also forcing your brain to process the incoming speech incredibly quickly to keep up.
Ah, okay. So the intensity of trying to speak along forces your listening brain to work faster too.
Exactly. It's intense, but that's why it's so effective. It trains your brain and mouth to sync up at a faster pace. You're building that muscle memory for processing English sounds rapidly, closing the gap between hearing and understanding.
Shrinking the lag time. Got it.
Let's try a couple of quick shadowing sentences, really focusing on keeping up at the speed. First one. Let's meet at the coffee shop around 3:00 p.m. Try to repeat that right after me, matching the pace. Let's read at the coffee shop around 3:00 p.m.
Repeat sentence quickly. You can feel how you have to process it fast to say it fast.
Exactly. Okay, one more. I'll send you a quick message as soon as I get there. Again, shadow quickly and closely. I'll send you a quick message as soon as I get there.
Repeat sentence quickly. It definitely requires focus to keep up when the words flow together like that.
And that's the point. By pushing yourself to process and reproduce speech faster, you're training your whole system to handle natural, fast-paced conversations more easily. Okay, third strategy for tackling fast English.
Ear training.
Ear training. Sounds logical, but what does that specifically mean in this context?
Well, often when you listen to fast English, especially accents you're not used to, it can feel like you're just hearing sounds, not distinct words, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like the sounds haven't quite resolved into meaning yet. That's often because your ears aren't yet familiar with the specific ways sounds connect, or the rhythm and sounds of different accents. Think about how different maybe Australian English sounds from Scottish English.
Very different.
Right. So, the solution is targeted exposure. You need to consciously expose yourself to as much variety as possible. Listen to different podcasts, watch movies with actors from different English-speaking regions, find diverse audio sources.
So deliberately seeking out different sounds and accents, broadening your auditory experience.
Exactly. The more variety you hear, the more attuned your ears become. It's like learning any new skill. You need immersion in the actual sounds. Initially, just aim for the gist, the main idea. Don't stress about catching every word. The details will become clearer over time as your ear adapts.
So patience and consistent exposure are key.
Absolutely. And the material offered a really practical tip here, especially for beginners. Try slowing down the playback speed slightly when you encounter really fast speech or a difficult accent. Use the controls on your player.
Ah, the 0.75x button again. But use strategically this time.
Right. It lets you hear the individual words and connections more clearly at first. Then, as you get more comfortable, you gradually increase the speed back to normal. It's like training wheels for your ears. And again, consistency makes all the difference. Even short, regular exposure adds up.
Okay, so let's quickly recap these 3 strategies for mastering fast English listening. Prediction, using context to anticipate. Shadowing, mimicking to boost reaction speed. And ear training, exposing yourself to diverse accents and styles. These are all active ways to take control of your listening practice.
Exactly. We really encourage you to try consciously using these strategies the next time you're listening to English.
Yeah.
Notice how they impact your understanding. It might feel challenging at first, but stick with it. Practice will make it easier, and soon you'll find yourself understanding those fast conversations much more comfortably, feeling present, not lost.
Now, that listener material you shared from the Mastering Fast English Conversations podcast, it really drills down into some very specific practical tips. It's obvious you're really focused on improving how you understand fast English, a hurdle so many learners face. So what we want to do now is pull out the absolute most useful, actionable techniques from that resource. Things you can start doing today to feel more confident and less, underwater in those quick chats.
Sounds good. Yeah, the podcast laid out 3 main strategies that seem really core to their approach.
Right? And these are really fundamental for listening effectively when things get speedy. First, the power of active listening, really engaging, not just hearing. Second, getting good at recognizing speech reductions, those little shortcuts native speakers take. And third, the huge value of practicing consistently with real, authentic English content.
They might sound simple on the surface, but when you actually apply them consciously and regularly, they can make a massive difference in cracking fast English. So, let's dig into that first one. Active listening. Now, active listening, as we said, is more than just letting sound waves hit your ears. It means really concentrating, focusing on understanding the main message, the important stuff.
Right, like the difference between just skimming an article versus reading it carefully for comprehension.
Exactly. Or like hearing music vaguely from another room versus putting on headphones and really focusing on the lyrics.
Yeah.
And the podcast you shared had a really neat practical tip for shifting into this active listening mode.
Yeah, I like this one. They suggested asking yourself a specific question right after you hear someone speak a sentence or two. What is the main idea?
Precisely. Just asking that simple question forces your brain to engage, to process what you just heard, and to pull out the central point instead of just letting the words flow past unprocessed.
And they gave some good examples, like imagine you hear, I had a really long day at work, so I decided to treat myself to some ice cream on the way home. Now, instead of getting lost in the details of the long day or the ice cream flavor, you just ask, what's the main idea?
And the core message, like the podcast pointed out, is basically, speaker had a tough day, got ice cream as a reward, boom, you've got the essence. It's about grabbing that key takeaway.
Exactly. Here's the other example they used. She missed her flight because of traffic, but luckily she was able to book another one an hour later. Again, don't worry about the traffic details or the exact flight times. Just ask. Main idea.
And the main point is, missed flight, but got a later one. Simple. You understand the situation. So for you listening, this is something you can actively do. When you hear someone speaking English, especially if it's fast, just mentally pause for a second and ask, okay, what was the main point there?
And it's a skill, right? It gets easier and more automatic the more you practice it. It helps you cut through the clutter, find the core message, and stops you from feeling overwhelmed because you didn't catch every single word.
Absolutely. Which leads perfectly into the second key strategy for the material, recognizing speech reductions. Now, we've touched on this, but native speakers do this constantly, shortening words and phrases when speaking quickly.
Like little verbal shortcuts for efficiency.
Exactly. Often happens totally subconsciously. The podcast Highlighted some super common examples you hear all the time.
Yeah, like what do you want? Squishing down to what do you want? Multiple words just blend together, sounds disappear.
Or, I'm gonna go, becoming that much quicker. I'm gonna go. These little phonetic changes can make a huge difference to your understanding if you're trying to follow fast speech and you're not expecting them.
Because your brain is listening for the full version it learned.
Exactly. It hears the reduced form, it gets thrown off. But the good news, as the podcast pointed out, is that these reductions usually follow predictable patterns. Once you start recognizing the common patterns, understanding gets way easier. They give some practice examples too.
Let's look at those. If someone says, "Gimme a sec," what's the full phrase they actually mean?
That's short for give me a second. Notice give me becomes gimme, and a second shortens to a sec.
Right. It's like learning the shorthand version of the language.
Here's the other podcast example. Let me know if you need help. What's the full version?
That would be, "Let me know if you need help," with "let me," reducing to "let me." Spotting these common contractions and blends is just crucial for understanding faster speech. It's not about memorizing every single possibility, but getting familiar with the most frequent ones.
It's like learning the main roads in a city. Once you know those, getting around is much easier, even if you don't know every single side street.
Great analogy. Okay, which brings us nicely to the third and final key strategy from the podcast material, practicing consistently with real-world English content. This is where you put the active listening and the reduction recognition skills to work in a more immersive way.
Exactly. It's like learning guitar. You can practice scales all day, but you really improve when you start playing actual songs. The podcast recommended great sources like movies, TV shows, other podcasts, things you actually enjoy.
Because they expose you to natural, often unscripted English, the way people really talk.
And they outlined a really clear 3-step practice challenge for using this real-world content effectively.
Yeah, step 1, just listen. First time through, no subtitles, no transcript. Just try to get a feel for the rhythm, the flow, the speed, the intonation. Notice those reductions, but don't stress about understanding every word. Just absorb the overall sound.
Step 2, listen again, but this time with subtitles or a transcript. Now you connect the sounds to the written words. This clarifies the tricky parts, lets you see the reductions written out, helps with new vocabulary. It's like having the map while you explore the territory.
And step 3 gets you even more active. Try repeating parts of what you hear out loud. Mimic the speaker. This actively engages your pronunciation, helps you copy the natural flow and intonation. You move from passive listening to active production, which really strengthens everything: comprehension, pronunciation, fluency. You start to internalize the rhythms.
Exactly. The 3 steps build beautifully, get the feel, then decode with text, then actively produce it yourself. And the key is finding content you genuinely like, so the practice doesn't feel like a chore.
So, final quick recap of these key takeaways from the podcast material. Active listening, focus on the main idea, recognizing speech reductions, spotting those common shortcuts, and practicing with real-world content, using that 3-step listen, listen with text, repeat process. These are all things you can start doing right now.
And remember, consistency is the name of the game. The more you consciously practice these techniques, the more second nature they'll become, and the better you'll get at understanding those fast English conversations. You really will notice a difference.
Absolutely. So here's a final thought to ponder as we close out this deep dive. Thinking about these specific techniques, active listening for the main idea, tuning into speech reductions, practicing with real-world stuff you enjoy, what specific types of English content do you think would be most helpful for you personally to start engaging with more actively? Consider your interests, where you are now with your listening, and the kind of English you actually encounter or want to understand better. Let that guide your next steps.
That's a great reflective question. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. We really hope exploring all these strategies and techniques has been helpful and given you some concrete things to work on.
Yeah, we hope you found it useful and informative. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining us.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you being here.
Until the next deep dive, take care, keep practicing, and we'll see you then.